What's up, guys? Today we are here with Alex. He just got top 8 at the LA Regionals. He's going to show us his ELFNOTE deck profile and show us all the goo and explain to us why he ran certain cards, because I don't think many ELFNOTE players ran a list like him. I mean, similar, but there's a few cards that he teched in that were pretty sick. So you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start with the ELFNOTE engine.
So I played, to cut it short, ELFNOTE branded for the regional. So I started with 3 Lucina.
With this, did you ever once search the pendulum?
So it ended up coming up sometimes. If I already opened up Regina or I opened up Patron already, the card that I would search for is the Genuldo, the Pendulum ELFNOTE, and then just sometimes just like get my opponent to be like, oh man, like he can draw 2 here. So it happened a couple times in the regional where I activated the Pendulum and then normal summoned the Patron, and I would bait Ashes just by using the effect right there and then to be like, oh, I'm gonna use the effect to draw 2, and they would go Ash that, and I'm like, cool, that's totally fine. I already baited an Ash, Synchro, and then Patron is free to go because I don't have to worry about the Ash on the Patron.
It's kind of a really good bait though.
It's great bait.
It's a pot of greed.
Yes, 100%. So everybody that kept playing me, they were like, wait, it does what? And I was like, yeah, it's draw 2, discard 1. And then I was like, and it has an additional effect. If it goes to the top of the extra deck, you'd add an ELFNOTE or a Patron from the graveyard. And they were like, wow, okay. Ash in that. But the next card after that was the 3 Tania. I have a love-hating relationship with this card because I love to draw the spell and I hate drawing the spell, but she is a 1-card starter as well. These 2 are 1-card starters, so like you need to play it. So it's just for consistency purposes. Yep. And then the hand rip is insane, especially if you're lucky, and I was, and you kept hitting everything that they needed in hand, which was great.
Doing this in Omega on their turn?
Oh, it was great. I would shotgun Omega most of the time, and then go Tania on their turn. Let them use like 1 or 2 cards, because they're gonna see the lingering effect of this just like sitting there, and they're gonna go, oh, like I can't not deal with this card. So you would let them do 2 cards, negate their stuff with the trap and other cards that you have on board, and then once they have 2 cards left in hand, which happened a lot, I would go Tania effect, and they'd go, yeah, I lost because you took the card I needed. The next card is the, I say 1.5 starter, and it is not a hand trap. It's not a hand trap, guys.
I was gonna bring that up.
Stop saying this is a hand trap. Is ELFNOTE Regina. Regina is a great extender. It can be a starter if you have nothing else. And the only time you should be activating this card, any type of your opponent's turn, is at the end phase, because it happened in my last game, the last round. He set 3 back row, and I went, okay, cool. He set everything. So I'm gonna go end phase, effective Regina, send a card, summon it in the middle column, and then use the effect to special from deck. So now at this point, my advantage is up, and he set any card that could deal with the Regina at that point. So then now you're plussing off the Regina, and most of the time you're either summoning Lucina, because not only are you bouncing a card that's level 6 or lower back to hand non-targeting, you're getting a search on your turn immediately. So a lot of times the Lucina just sticks on the board. First action, you go Lucina effect search, and then they're wasting anything on that, but you still have all the cards to play with. So this is the only time it's not a hand trap. It's a starter sometimes, but it's more of an extender.
It's an amazing extender.
Yes. One card that you have to play that it came up a lot in my hand is the Fortuna. Fortuna added, like placing the trap. A lot of people would look at me and go, oh, you bricked. And I'm like, I did, but I would also open these 2 up all the time. So it always made this card very like live, because now I have trap already with one of these patrons. So I'm fully set up and they don't know that. So they're just like, oh, it's nothing. But in reality, it's everything if you open this.
Honestly, opening Fortuna with either Regina or Power Patron,
yes,
is good.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And usually if you go Fortuna first, they're not going to Imperm or Veiler it.
Exactly.
So you're going to get trap on the field.
Exactly.
Because they're like, oh, you bricked.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, nah, I didn't.
Because like the trap is as soon as, because immediately you're synchroing the Strelitzia, and you immediately have the negate live at that point. Yeah. So they're just kind of like, oh, so you do have everything, and it's like, yeah, I do end up having everything. Yep. And then you just go Patron, search for. I like to do Tania always off the Patron. Same. I sometimes will do Lucina if I have the Tania, but most of the time I'm searching Tania off of Patron.
And then are you going from Strelitzia on that play into bringing this back and going straight into Ecclesia?
Most of the time, yes. That's like the main combo is I'm going Strelitzia, Strelitzia before summoning the Tania that I searched off of this, summon this, and then I'll go into the Ecclesia.
The Synchro.
The Synchro Ecclesia. And then at that point, I'm playing around through everything because I have Ecclesia on the board now. So now I feel more comfortable doing this. So if they do Ash this, I still have or not Ash this, either Valor or Imperm this, I still have Ecclesia to push forward and to do more plays if I need to. So don't play a level 5, and I'll show you guys in the extra deck too as well what I do play, but the bumping up to 4 comes up a lot with this card, so that's the main reason why I was using it.
You were telling me there was only one situation in the entire regional where they Ghost Ogred it.
Yes, so it came up in the last round and I had to pass. I summoned Medius, which is the other 2 cards that I play in the deck. I'll show you guys right now. I went Medius, normal summon Medius, summon Patron, and they ended up Ghost Ogring the Patron, and I had to pass turn and I lost that game. But I was like, oh yeah, there's nothing else that I could do. I had nothing else in my hand, and even my opponent was like stunned. They were like, oh, I guess you're passing, and I'm like, yep, I'm passing. I still ended up winning that game though. So, and then, the 2 Medius. This is a branded card. It's not an ELFNOTE or anything like that. This is just a branded card in this deck, and it bridges everything. So that's what's great about this card. You only play 2, you don't play 3. I feel like if you were to play 3, it kind of messes with a little bit of consistency, but you play an additional card in the deck, which I'll show you the other part of that makes it really good at 2. And then the last 2 ELFNOTEs that we play is the ELFNOTE Spell, Welcome Home, and then the last one is the Rhapsodia, which is the Trap. I had one match where some guy went Follow the Virtuous on my FA Don Dragster that was in the middle column while this was up, and I said, that's okay, and he's like, wait, it doesn't get destroyed, and I was like, it does not. He's like, oh, can I switch targets? And I was like, unfortunately, you already picked your target. It's a regional, so
yeah, you can't take it back.
Yeah,
not at that level.
Exactly.
If it's locals, I'd be like
100%.
Sure.
If it's locals, I don't care. You could switch targets, but in this case, I was like, you already targeted it. I was already ahead in that game, so it was all good.
Was there any situations where you had to open with this card?
There was a couple, but this was always the last thing I did. So if I had this card and let's say another way of extending, I would use the extender first before using this card, because I always had this card as a last resort. Yeah. Because this card, if it gets ashed and you have nothing else, you kind of just lose there on the spot. But if you open all hand traps and only this card, then yes, you would have to start with this, and then this combo would just be Lucina from there. Yeah. So this is just the Lucina combo, or if you want, I think it's the more riskier play is the Regina combo where you can summon Regina. It's a lot more riskier for me, because if I can keep Lucina on the board till my next turn, because if I open all hand traps, I can use Lucina again. If I used Regina and you ashed it and it goes back to me and I still don't have another play, the Regina does nothing on the field. Yeah, that's nothing. How I felt. Yeah, and yeah, you could use Welcome Home again, but it just felt better summoning the Lucina. And then Rhapsodia, obviously the best card in the deck. A lot of the people that don't understand ELFNOTE, they were like, oh, you don't have a synchro on the board, so you're not going to be able to negate anything. So they don't know that I could summon the Strelitzia, and then
that happened twice for me.
Yes. So they go, oh, it doesn't, oh, it won't check that it has a synchro. It's like, no. So it summons first, then it checks if there's a synchro after it got summoned, and it will negate. So then now you summoning the Strelitzia, you'll be able to negate a card on the field. So that's what's really good about this card.
There was one play where I had Lucina on board and no other plays.
Yeah.
And then I had Welcome Home and Lucina on the board. I had Regina in hand. I go Regina, send the Welcome Home.
Yeah.
Special the Regina, special out Power Patron, switch to bounce one of their monsters.
Yeah.
Power Patron, and then synchro into Strelitzia.
Yeah.
And then Chainlink 1, Power Patron, Chainlink 2, Regina to add back.
See, it's just infinite combos with all these cards, and it's so great, because that's what feels good about ELFNOTE, and it never feels like you have nothing to do with the deck. It feels like there's always something to do, and different variants to do that. That's why I love this deck. But yeah, those are the ELFNOTE cards that you play in the deck. The next part of it is the small Patrons engine that you play. You play the big boy, which is don't know how to say his name, Vidulum.
Yeah.
This card, this is the only card that I've considered that I might bump up one more.
Oh, really?
During the regional, it came up a few times where I was like, man, if I had played one more of these, I think I could push more. I still ended up winning those games because you just kind of figure out what to do because you don't have that second card. But this one I may bump up to 2, but it's really good. The reborn effect comes up, and then the fact that it pluses you another card on its own, it replaces itself and summons a card from the graveyard. So this is just plusing you so much advantage on that. So
Did you ever send this once with the spell?
there was times where I was playing this the Terminus, and I would go, because I side out certain cards going second, and I would activate Terminus, sending itself to the graveyard, from the extra deck instead.
Yep.
And it would come up, and then I would search Medius, and then it would go full combo from there. So yeah, it definitely came up where I was sending that from the extra deck most of the time. The next one that I played is the one Ginoldo. Like we were talking about earlier, the draw 2 effect is really good. Draw 2, discard 1. The discard 1 does not exist. You're still just getting draw 2, because most of the time you have Patron cards in hand, or you have ELFNOTE cards in hand.
And or grave too.
And in grave. So sometimes what ended up happening is I'm discarding a dead card. If like it's Fualos, if I had a Fualos, I would dump the Fualos. And if this was in my extra deck, I was either adding this back to my extra deck, to my hand from the extra deck, or if I had to dump a Regina, I would dump Regina, add it back with this, and I didn't neg any card on that. This was really good. I don't play the big synchro, so I never use that effect to summon itself, to send it to the extra deck and then summon that. So
do you think with the June Pride coming out, because that's our only real support, like internal support for
yeah, the June Pride is gonna be really good with the deck. You still would play this,
but do you think you would play it at 2 ever? Would you ever consider this at 2?
I would consider this more at 2 than this at 2. This I think can stay at 1. This is just really good because it could just push for more plays, and I think that's what the deck is really good at, because I was playing on multiple people and they were just like, I can't believe you were pushing through my hand traps. So I was like, I'd rather have more cards that can push through hand traps, which would be this one, more than this one. This one can push through hand traps, which it did come up where I had a play where I opened up Fortuna and this, and so I just was like, scale this, special Fortuna, activate the effect to draw 2 there, and it just, most of my opponents would be like, okay, I'm gonna have to ash that, and then now I could play with like this card, which is the Terminus in the deck, because I could go, okay, now that you ash this, I can go Terminus. This was really good to get the Medius. A lot of people thought like, oh, Medius was always special summoning Power Patron. Medius is adding you this now, so if you're playing around Fualos, is a good play around Fualos is Terminus, send Power Patron, ELFNOTE Power Patron, and then normal summon Medius. They would Fua you there. So the good thing about Medius is you don't have to declare what you're doing. So you go either adds or specials. So they Fua you there, and then you add this to hand. And so they go, oh wait, you're not special summoning that? And you just go, no, I'm just adding it to hand. And then you go effect, summon the patron, full combo. You only gave him 1 draw. So that's really, really good. There was one of my games that I was playing, and I ended up with my board of Fortuna in the middle, Lucina, Tania, Strelitzia in the extra monster zone, Bell and Trap, and I only gave my opponent 1 draw. So that was all through with Terminus.
That's incredible.
Yeah. The other MVP cards I think in the deck had to be the branded stuff. So I played 2 Fallen of White. Everybody's seen enough of it that I think everybody knows what it does now at this point. People kept asking me, does it lock you when you just normal summon or special summon? And I was like, no. Nope. So the only time you get locked is if you use the effect in hand to dump, and it resolves successfully, and I'll mention why that makes sense.
I loved opening this with my ELFNOTE stuff.
Yes.
Doing this last is so, because it gives you Fallen of the Virtuous.
Yes.
It gives you all your branded stuff.
Yes.
It is just so good.
Yeah, so good. This card baits almost every hand trap in the game. So sometimes starting with this, like I would sometimes even normal this and then go off with the other combos. If this got ashed, veilered, or whatever it was, I knew, okay, cool, they checked this, I can freely play with different cards now. And then obviously you have the OG Fallen of Albaz, which is like the branded mirror killer. So what ended up happening a lot was I would go Ecclesia effect, summoning this right away, wouldn't even go the other Ecclesia, and just fuse with my opponent's board, and they just were caught off guard off from it. So Fallen Albaz, regular OG, is really good. Ecclesia, the incredible Ecclesia, yeah, I will say it came up a lot using the effect to special summon itself, because I love opening 1-ofs. Kept happening, but it was okay. So again, this card is 2 different cards in your deck, which is these 2. So if you need to summon Fall of White to get a synchro, you can get that. Or if you want to summon Fall of Albaz to fuse with your opponent's board, you can get that too as well. So this is why this was really good.
Yeah, honestly, opening this isn't too bad, because you could just special it, tribute, special this out, get it back, go into an 8.
Exactly.
So it's not too bad.
Exactly. And then I did play one card that I did tell Tyler about before the event that I thought was really good in this deck, and I took it from branded Draco Tail players, is the Dogmatica Ecclesia. This deck does, if you've seen most branded ELFNOTE decks, they're not playing this. I opted to play it, and it was great. Like, this card was really good. And you might ask what Dogmatica card you're looking for. You're looking for the best card in the game right now. I think it's Fallen the Virtuous.
Yep.
Because it's considered a branded and a Dogmatica card. So in the combo, if you're starting with Strelitzia into the Ecclesia, the last thing you can do after you finished your combos, you would just go Fallen of White, summon Ecclesia, add this, and then now you have your full board of ELFNOTE. You have the spell trap, and then you end with Fallen the Virtuous. Most of the time you were not able to search Fallen the Virtuous unless you were using this effect to dump Albion. Now you don't have to do that to waste the Albion. You just search it off the Ecclesia. That's like the very last action. And this is really good now with us, because now that you've done everything, you get both effects.
Yep.
So you don't just have a pop, you have a monster reborn. And what ended up happening a lot is my opponents would go first action super poly, and then I'll be like, okay, that's totally fine. And if I needed one of the pieces that they super polyed away, if I didn't want to use the trap, I would just go Fall into Virtuous, target special, and they would be like, oh, okay, well, it's back now. So you get more utility out of the Fall into Virtuous by just playing the Ecclesia. So, and even if you hard open the Ecclesia, it could still be the last thing that you do, because it just special summons itself as long as there's an extra deck monster on the field.
Including your own.
Yeah, exactly. Including your own, and then you just search the Fall in the Virtuous again from that. Play the 3 for drawless. It's a great board breaker, and it could be a good hand trap too as well. You just gotta know when to do it.
Yeah, I hated using it as a hand trap.
Yeah.
In any situation where I could use it as a hand trap, I would always like hesitate, and if I decided to do it, it just was so underwhelming.
Yeah. So the best time, if you know the matchups, and like my matchups, I played against 4 Cool Tune, 3 Branded, 1 Doom Z, and a random Gem Knight Dark Lord player, which is a good deck, by the way. It was actually pretty decent. If you knew the Cool Tune and the Branded matchups, you know where to hit them. So this can be a hand trap for you if you know if your opponent can't do a certain thing. So this was really good by like you dumping Malong, bouncing a card, and you pop a card. That came in handy. So 3 for drawless, 3 Fualos, Ash. I opted to play 2 Effect Veiler. I got this from my brother. Actually sent me the list from this guy that he's a Master Duel player. His name is Herman, I think, and he had recently topped his I think it was Swedish Nationals or one of those nationals with ELFNOTE, and I saw him playing Effect Veiler, and I was like, I think that might be a good idea in this format. I went to my local the next day after that I saw that, because I did change up my non-engine. This came up a lot, and it was great, and it came up at the regional like too many times too as well. So against Cool Tune, you would Veiler them, and I had 2 Cool Tune players just pass because then couldn't do anything else from there. And then Mag, MVP also of the hand traps. Oh man, Mag was breaking boards left and right, and I'm going to the extra deck shortly, but Magnamut was like, it was for drawless. Magnamut was Fallen of White, and Magnamut could turn into anything that you wanted, and Magnamut was just breaking boards left and right. Even against Cool Tune, where a lot of the time it doesn't seem like it's the best. If you Magnamut them before they make Zaylin, you are still gonna get your search at the end phase, and you are gonna basically have you're starting with a monster and a search already. So you already have an advantage to break their board, and you're breaking their board with a certain card that it's very hard for them to out. We played F.A. Don Dragster. F.A. Don Dragster was great for stopping any back row. Sometimes you would start Lucina, summon Patron, and then you would go summon Dragster. So then you check any back row that they have back there, and most of the time it was Fallen the Virtuous, so you were checking all the Fallen the Virtuouses first with this.
Oh yeah, I remember after one of the rounds, you were telling me how they set 2, and your first action was to go into this, and you just check.
Yeah, exactly. And that was actually my round 9 game, which is the last game of the day. It was game 3. Immediately, since I did the effect earlier that I explained, the Regina at the end phase, Regina at the end phase sending Lucina, summon Lucina. I went Lucina effect search Patron, normal the Patron, and then went straight into this, and sure enough, they had Fallen the Virtuous in the back row, and they couldn't do anything about it. It just was negating it most of the time. So Strelitzia, obviously one of the best cards. Everybody goes back and forth by saying 1 or 2. 1 is totally fine. Cool Tune was not banishing my extra deck at all Saturday, so
yeah, not at all.
Yeah, so this was totally fine at 1. The one card that I started playing, and it literally came up by just looking at level 7s, was the Shooting Riser Dragon. I went into this so many times that this is staying in the extra deck. There was a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it out, but this is way better than Excel Synchron and putting an extra card in your deck as a brick. That was the main reason of playing it. I didn't want a brick on anything because a lot of people were like, oh, how do I do B2B with Excel Synchron? And I'm like, I don't want to use Excel Synchron. Excel Synchron, you have to play Jet Synchron, and it's like, I don't want to play that brick. You're already adding some bricks to the deck. Adding more doesn't help.
Would you normally send Medius with this?
So there was a couple targets. If I had already normal Medius, the other level 4 that I would send, because usually what I'm doing is sending a level 4 off of this to make it a level 3. So then I would send, like you said, it would be Medius, or I would send Fualos, because I don't want to draw Fualos. Fualos is a great card, but if I'm going first and it's game 1, I'm sending Fualos so I don't draw Fualos, because I don't want to draw Fualos. So it would just make it a level 3 that way. The other thing I'm thinking about too as well, actually, is adding Fairy Tale Snow, because you can dump Fairy Tale Snow off of this and it becomes way better because now you have Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard. I'm thinking about it. I don't know yet, but that, in theory, you can do that too as well.
Say you go uninterrupted.
Yes.
Is this an end board piece?
That was always an end board piece. So like I was explaining earlier, and I'll show you guys, it's like most of the time I would summon this, and then I would go Ecclesia effect, summon the Fallen of White, and then Fallen of White, summon the Dogmatica Ecclesia, add Fallen the Virtuous, and I have Spell and Trap on the back row. And so what this does is that you're gonna have Ecclesia come back, and then you have again Spell and Trap. So your opponent sees this board and thinks nothing of it because it doesn't look like it does anything. So your opponent goes, okay, what can he do? Obviously I have Riser Dragon that's still a level 3, stays a level 3 when you decrease its level. So they'll go, what is he gonna make? What is he gonna make? So Riser can be 2 options for me in this deck. Riser equaled F.A. Dawn Dragster because it's a level 3 and I have 2 level 4s. So I can make a Dawn Dragster with any of these 2. Or if they want to do something that I want to negate, so I would activate Trap, send this to the graveyard, summon Strelitzia back, and then negate the card. Then I would go Strelitzia effect, reborn any of them, right? Then chain Riser Dragon, and then you would play the other card that I play in my extra deck is B2B. So this is a 3, this is a 7, and this is a Synchro Monster, so you're making B2B on their turn. I only did it once or twice. Most of the time I was summoning F.A. Dawn Dragster off of it, but B2B is a good card. So far, those are the 4. Then you play Dogmatica Ecclesia, obviously for the combo. Then you play Omega. Omega is the great hand rip, that's why it's at 1. Exactly. You could summon 2 if it was at 2, but it's at 1. So, and then MVP of the entire day, and the reason why Magnuma is a board breaker, Big Boy Chaos Angel. I had to get the full art.
Yeah, I was there.
Had to get the full art.
Yep.
This card got summoned so many times. It won me too many games. Every time this card got summoned, my opponents would be like, is that made with light and dark? And I'd be like, yes. Yes, it's light and dark. And they would just go, yep, I lost.
I put it in the center zone one time with the spell on.
Yes,
field.
yeah.
They tried to FNV it.
Yeah, you
I
can't
was like,
block
cool.
it.
I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It's just too good. Too good. Chaos Angel. I'll say this, I summoned every card or used every card in my extra deck. This one I did not actually use, given the fact that I played against like 4 Cooltoon. I played against Cooltoon and every time did not let them get to B2B for most of the times, so I never had to really use this too much. But it's safe. It's good to have it there. If you wanted to add a different card in your extra deck, you definitely could.
Would you though?
I would keep it just in case. And then the next 3 cards are for drawless targets, technically. Pegasus, Malong to bounce cards, and then the Lulu. I wasn't playing Lulu before. Now I put Lulu because I play Dogmatica Ecclesia. So Lulu's was really good in getting FNV or summoning Ecclesia to get a combo started with Fallen White. And doing that. So Lulu's really good in this deck.
You were telling me too, you did summon it once.
So I did summon it once, came up because I had no other play. The way that I summoned it was you make Patron of 4, and I summoned Mirror Jade and used his effect to first banish a card. Then I went immediately synchro into this. The way that I had it was like I'm not locked into anything at this point. So I summoned this, and then I got Patron effect to search, and I went full combo with ELFNOTE with just this one card because Patron was a 4. So those are the synchros that I played in the extra deck. And then we played 4 fusions. We played 1 Albalinitis. This does come up. I used the effect on my opponent's turn to fuse with Fallen Albaz. He did an effect to get rid of 1 monster, and so all he had was his Fallen White. He didn't believe I ran any fusion targets for it, so he was like, oh, he even told me. He was like, hey, you don't have a fusion target for it, huh? And I was like, yes, I do. Summoned it on him, and he scooped because he was like, yeah, I can't do anything from there. So Albalinitis is really good, and Rip Blue Eyes players. And then next one I played is Albion. Albion was always getting sent off of Fallen the Virtuous. I never fusion summoned for it, but good to get you the other Fallen the Virtuous to keep going pretty much to use the other one. I did summon Dogma. Dogma is insane. You would summon this and you go anything, and they just go no, you just shuffle back their fusions back into the extra deck so they don't get effects, and yeah, it was just good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I was summoning more than this card, which is Mirror Jade. Also, again, the full art. You have to have the full art. The Mirror Jade was getting summoned once in a while, but when it did come up, it was really good because you would just send the Dogma, or you could send the Albion if you needed to. But that was the other good reason about playing Albalinitis too. Even though you're not playing a fusion or card to search with this, it was just nice to have another name to dump off of the Mirror Jade. So that would be really good. So that's the extra deck. I chose to be more hand trap heavy on the side deck because weirdly enough, FTKs are a huge thing right now.
Bro, trains destroyed me.
Yes,
I hand trapped him twice. I ogred his extra normal summon before he can extra normal summon, and then I ghost spelled his I think it was his field spell or something to allow you to like special bag.
Yes.
And I was like, no. And then he was like, bro, if I didn't have this one card, you would have got me.
Yeah.
But he burned me for 8k turn 0.
Yeah, so he got FTK'd. My homie John got FTK'd. Shout out to John.
Top 57.
Catapult Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
He got game 1 against some guy playing, I think, Earth Machine as well. And he went Catapult Turtle on him and FTK'd him with the Catapult Turtle. So I was like, I know FTK decks are out there. Even the Teller deck, I got the locals before the regional. I got FTK'd by Tellers because they just turn skip you and they just go for game. So I was like, you know what? None of that. I'm going to play hand traps, more hand traps, because I was playing Secret Village. I even played, I think, one more Solemn than I am right now. And there was just a couple stuff. But the side deck that I went with was great. The card that I went with was Retaliating Sea. I played 3 Retaliating Sea. And the next one I played is 3 Ghost Ogre.
Ogre was good.
Yeah. The next one I did, so these next 2 cards I moved from the main deck to the side deck because I felt like they still were needed, but I didn't feel like I needed them at that moment. There's 2 Ghost Spell.
Felt the same way.
Ghost Spell was great. I think you've brought this up before too. It's just the only kind of bad thing about it is that it negates activation. Yeah. So against, like, I didn't play any Mitsurugi, but when I do play against Mitsurugi, if I bell the prayers, they always have a second prayers.
Always, bro.
They always have a second prayer, so I don't like having that there. So I sided instead. And then the next card that I side to as well is Droll. Droll and Lockbird in the main, in theory, is really good, but I felt like my engine was breaking more boards and pushing through stuff, so I just was like, you know what, let me concentrate more on that stuff. And then, so I just moved Droll and Lockbird to the side. So essentially what ended up happening was I switched these
for the Veiler.
For the Effect Veilers, yeah. So Effect Veiler went in, this one came out, and went into the side. Those are the monster hand traps for the side deck. And then I did play Spell and Trap removal as 2 Lightning Storm and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster.
The ulti.
Yeah, it is the ulti. So what came up actually against a branded player had both of these in hand. He went
sick.
Set. He had one set, and then he had 2 monsters in attack. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna Harpy's Feather Duster first. Cleared his back row, and then I went Lightning Storm to clear the monsters, and he was like, yeah, you're just a better player than me. So cleared the board and was just able to push from there.
Did you ever side Lightning Storms in with Retaliating Sea? Or keep the Fordralis in?
Yes, just because most of the time what everybody was doing at the regional, I would side in the Lightning Storms even with Magnamut being in there because they were just popping the Magnamut right away. Especially against Brandon. So what they kept doing too is they would go Fall in the Virtuous, effect, send, pop. anything that was on my board, so I don't have anything on my field.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if I'm playing against Brandon, no problem. I'll still have the Lightning Storm if they even do that.
And you still get your search.
Exactly, and still get the search. So that felt good. And then this card too as well. I played Call by the Grave in the side. That got moved also from the main deck to the side deck. Call by is really good, but I know it got banned in the OCG recently. I put Magnuma in the main over the Call by, and honestly, best decision I ever made.
It's because it's a starter on their turn.
Exactly, it's a starter on their turn, and then Call by, it was just good going if you had lost the first game, or if you're going into game 3 and it's your first turn. It's just to secure the win, pretty much. It's just going Call by. And then the last card I did play is the power hand trap, I like to call it, is the Solemn Judgment.
Is there anything you would change in the list at all?
The only thing, like I mentioned earlier, was just maybe one more Pendulum.
What would you take out for it?
Maybe taking out possibly... See, that's the other thing. It's just like, it's so tight.
Yeah, super tight.
Maybe even go to 41. At times, I think the deck it was okay being at either 41 or 42, but it would just be testing. Like, I wanted to keep it a clean 40. So 40, I would probably add the Pendulum to be the 41st card, if anything. It wouldn't cut anything out of the deck.
Okay, so before we finish, just because I know you're a big advocate on making this deck run as simple as possible.
Yes.
Don't overdo it. Keep it simple.
Yes.
Can you show us your standard M board starting with just Lucina?
Lucina.
Just Lucina, uninterrupted.
The basic combo with Lucina. So you start with Lucina, you special Lucina, activate effect. Again, this is all without being interrupted, so you would go add Power Patron. I normal summon the Power Patron here, synchro these two off, summoning going straight into the Strelitzia. So then you
in
go...
the extra deck zone too?
Yes, in the extra deck zone. I like just summoning it there because it's not permanently staying there for most of the time.
Yeah.
And then even if this gets negated and I have another card in hand, I don't clog up the center monster zone, so I can still summon more cards. So then you would go Power Patron effect, search for your Tania, and then before doing anything, you go effect to this, reborn the Power Patron. Do not level modulate. You just go into straight up an 8. 8 obviously that you go into is Ecclesia, and then you go special Tania. You activate the effect of Tania, place the ELFNOTE spell.
So I have a question here.
Yes.
What is the reasoning on not trying to attempt to go into Omega right now?
So I don't do any other play than Omega because this checks more hand traps and plays through hand traps. So my reasoning is we don't have like the OCG Barone. Yeah. So Barone is a great insulation for your plays because you can go straight into Barone with these two by level modulating, but we don't have it. So the way that I built the deck was, since I have no negates, I'm gonna play cards to play through those hand traps. Ecclesia helps play through those hand traps because you can go full combo or something gets interrupted. Ecclesia is a quick effect anytime, so you can activate during the main phase. You can activate it, banish itself, summon other cards, and then continue to combo that way. So I just wanted to summon first the Ecclesia and not Omega because Omega will rip a card, but this will help play through hand traps.
So you just leave that on board the whole end phase.
Yes, so I leave this here to the end of the combo. So like here, so I'll activate Tania effect, place the Welcome Home. I go Welcome Home here, sending Tania. Then you go Regina here, summoning Regina. Again, like I said, it's an extender. It's not a hand trap or anything like that. So you activate Regina here, summoning the Fortuna. So Fortuna comes out. And then you activate Fortuna to set up trap. And so now here, what you go is activate Rhapsodia, sending the Fortuna, reborning the Patron. So now the next synchro that you make here is the one that I like, my favorite one now recently is the Riser Dragon.
Okay.
So now the cool thing about this is two things are going to happen. You're always going to get the dump from this because you're going to go chain link 1 Riser Dragon, chain link 2 Regina.
Sick.
Because you're always going to chain block it. So now...
And you're already too far into the combo where they're not going to Veiler or Infirm because they would have already done it.
Exactly. So then you add the Regina back, you go Riser, and what I like to send off the Riser Dragon is Medius. So obviously I can't use Medius now, but on my next turn, if there is a next turn, I have follow-up with Medius. And I have Regina in hand too as well. So then now here, you might ask, what do you do next? I go Ecclesia now finally here. I banish the Ecclesia. I will summon the Fallen of White. And now I don't summon the Incredible Ecclesia. I do Dogmatica Ecclesia here.
Okay. So this is more, getting the F and V in rotation is more important than Omega ripping them.
Exactly. So here I found it more, especially if my opponent has a full hand still and they did not hand trap me in any way. Again, the point of the deck is to play through things and make my opponent play weird. So then again, Dogmatic Ecclesia here will search you the F and V. So 1 card equaled 6 cards on your field at this point, and you have 2 in hand, so it plus you 1. So you end with the Fall of the White, the Riser Dragon, and the Dogmatic Ecclesia, and then end phase Ecclesia comes back, and then this is your board at that time.
Plus 4 more.
Yes, plus this being set. And so your opponent has to think here, what do I do? What do I deal with first? Because you still have Ecclesia.
Yeah.
You still have Riser Dragon. You still have the Rhapsodia to negate a card. You still have Fallen the Virtuous as well. So when you would do in your opponent's turn, is depending of what they were playing, like sometimes if I'm playing against Sky Striker, I'll just go, cool. I know a lot of people ask me, you could have just gone straight into F.A. Don Dragster here. Yes, but now my opponent feels like they don't have to deal with F.A. Don Dragster here. And then now you go effect and you surprise them with the F.A. Don Dragster. And so you can summon the F.A. Don Dragster here in the middle column now. And so before they were like, oh, I don't have to deal with that. Now they're like, oh, wait, I do have to deal with that. And that's after baiting anything else that they would have used. So
I think the only time you didn't end that board was against Branded, huh?
Yeah, Branded.
Because they could just go Albanadis, right?
They could go Albanadis, yeah.
Because they don't need you don't need the Albaz on your side, right? As long as there's Albaz and a dragon on the field, you can go into it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even sometimes I would still do this board against Branded because it was still pretty safe. Because even if they were to summon their Fallen of White, I would still have the counterplay by either doing Fallen the Virtuous to pop in anything, or this to even go into Fallen to Albaz and fuse their board. So sometimes I felt okay with just leaving it like this, depending on how they were playing. But yeah, this would just be the board against most of my opponents. And that was the deck. That's the 1-card combo. I'll tell you this, like that 1-card combo, if you break it down, you could do that with any of the cards in the deck, with like the ELFNOTE cards. Even opening up the 1 Pendulum monster can do it, because Pendulum pops itself, searches Terminus, full combo. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of cards that can get you that board, no matter what.
All right, sick. Well, thank you for sharing all this, Alex. This video is sick. It's kind of long. I definitely think this video might be one of the most valuable ELFNOTE videos that has been put out now. I don't know if I've ever seen that combo online at all.
Yeah.
And the explanation behind everything.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys got something out of it. Try out the Ecclesia, because obviously it makes I feel like his M board was so much more layered than mine, and it feels like it's so much better than the Crystal Wing.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody, there was another ELFNOTE guy that topped with me. He was playing ELFNOTE Cool Tune. That deck has been around in the OCG quite a bit, and he said his favorite end board was Crystal Wing F.A. Don Dragster. That board is good, but it's easily breakable, so that's why I don't like it. So,
bro, and there's certain decks play super poly targets that get rid of them.
Exactly.
It was crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I don't like playing that deck. So again, Albaz outs that Crystal Wing so easily. It's just called setting Albaz contact. Yeah.
Yep. It's
so
gone.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, comment them down below. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.